Alright, so I've officially moved to St. Louis, and of course one of the first things I have to do is find a good spot to go fishing. Now this particular lake has all sorts of things like channel catfish, largemouth bass, panfish, all the normal things, but this also holds a very special type of fish, and I'm not gonna tell you what that is yet because I want to catch one first. I don't want to spot burn too much, and once I catch this fish, you'll know. That might even be too much of a clue. I'm just a few feet away from the boat launch. I'm just gonna start throwing some lures, see if anything bites, and I'm gonna slowly work my way towards the dam and potentially around the lake a little bit. I'm just gonna be using some swim baits, maybe some jigs. I'm gonna try a whole bunch of different things. I've already seen a lot of panfish eating just around the edges here. There is a lot of algae, a lot of grass, so I'm gonna have to deal with that, but let's just see what happens. Now right now I am targeting largemouth bass, but I might switch it up just a little bit. I brought my ultralight setup just in case I want to just catch some bluegill and sunfish. So plan for right now is to just look for largemouth bass and see what else might be lurking in these waters. One of the major problems with fishing today actually is how hot it is. It's almost 90 degrees, which is well outside of my comfort zone. I'm gonna have to battle that. I need to think strategically about where the fish are gonna be, whether that's under grass mats or under overhanging trees, things like that. I'm already thinking about switching up my lures as well, just because there's so much grass and so much vegetation. I need to go to entirely weedless baits. Alright, so I've already changed over to a frog, just because I think all the frogs are croaking. There's a lot of vegetation out. I think this is gonna be my best bet. I want to stay back from the water for just a little bit, just in case there's fish down there. Alright, I need to swap over to a weedless swim bait. There we go. It's a weedless option of a nice funky swim bait. That's interesting. I wonder if there's a fish attractor straight out from here. I was about to walk over to that brush pile right there, so I think all around here is a good place to set up shop for a little while. What? There we go. There's a little fish. Oh, never mind. Whoa, huge catfish right there. Break off. Dang it. That was really weird. There's a catfish just eating on the surface right there. Ah, dang it. I didn't want to break off. There we go. There we go. Fish on. Fish on. Nice. There we go. What is it? I just want to play it a little bit. Don't want to get broke off. Oh boy. Oh, it's a good bass. It's a really good bass. Uh-oh. That's not good. That is not good. Crap. There we go. There we go. Come on, come on. Oh, there we go. That's a really good bass. Oh, he's got a weight in his throat. That's a real good fish, though. That's a really nice fish. Wow. Well, that was awesome. I've only been here for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours, and I just wanted to throw around the little ultralight to try to catch some panfish, and that really nice bass hit and just took line. That was awesome. That was probably about a pound and a quarter, pound and a half. All right, let's keep fishing. That was really fun. I don't really know what to call this thing. It's like a mix between a rooster tail and a spinnerbait. But it's a fire tiger, kind of a double hook sort of thing. It's not a treble, so it's pretty interesting. I think this is just from Bass Pro, and I just caught it right out there, so I'm gonna throw back out that way. I think we get so caught up in wanting to get bigger and bigger gear, baits, rods, reels, for bigger and bigger fish, but that was one of the biggest bass I've caught in quite a while on some of my lightest gear, so just goes to show. I'm gonna swap over to this little guy now. Pretty similar thing, similar color scheme, similar weight and action. There we go, there we go. There's a nice little fish. There's a nice little fish. Oh, it's a beauty. Look at that little guy. That was a pretty little guy. He got hooked a little weird, but came off just fine. I just feel like all of this would be really, really good because of how much algae there is over here. I don't really have a good way down there. I could cast out onto the water, but if I caught anything, I wouldn't have a way to land a fish. Oh, this might work. I can throw a frog out a few times here. There's something there. I don't think he was interested in my frog. I think he got scared. Could have been a carp. This looks very froggy. So I've just brought a frog and that's it. If I could offer one really easy tip for any beginner angler, whenever you approach a new pond, lake, river, whatever, any body of water, don't just run right up to the water. There may be fish literally 2 inches away from dry ground. You never know. That was the case with me right now. I like to walk several feet back from the bank, and I saw lots of fish along the rocks here, along this riprap, including in the corner over here, what's most likely a catfish, just munching on some grass or detritus. So you never know, and if you go right up to the water, you'll scare them away. There we go. There we go. Nice fish. That is my first ever catfish on artificial bait. I've never caught a catfish on anything other than like cut bait, like bait fish or chunks of meat. And I was just reeling in that rooster tail and he just hit it, slammed it so hard. That was awesome. I've never caught a catfish on an artificial lure before. And that was literally first cast. That's why I was saying you have to stay away from the bank. He was only about 10 feet off the shore. There we go, right off the bank. All right, there we go. There's another bluegill. All right, so the rooster tail was working, but I'm gonna size up my bait, go back to the soft plastic swim bait, just to see if anything bigger is biting, and if not, I'll just switch back to the rooster tail. Alright, so my last cast was kind of towards that cypress tree back there, and I got snagged on something, and so I started pulling, only to find out that it was someone else's line, because there's so much line snagged up in that tree. And then my little rooster tail snapped off trying to pull it out. So now I'm using just a tiny little spinner. Yeah, and I just got a bite. Little panfish just hit this, but it doesn't have any treble hooks. It's just a single hook, so hookups are going to be a lot more difficult to get. All right, let's try another spot. I know there's tons of channel cats in this pond, and so I'm kind of just moving around until I find them. I know there's a lot of people bank fishing over there, but that's not really my style for today. Well, I got this lure stuck on something, and as I was working it free, it came loose, and it came back with one less hook point. No idea what just happened, but that works. All right, back to the first spot we stopped at on this pond. This is gonna be the last stop before I go home. Would you look at that? That is quite possibly the smallest fish I've ever caught. Maybe that's the new smallest fish ever. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it. This was just a little sneak peek at what's to come this summer. I'm still unemployed, so I've got a lot of time to spare, and I plan to fill it with fishing, camping, and hiking. So stay tuned, click subscribe, like this video, share it with someone else who might enjoy the outdoors, and I'll see you next time.